Coyote Country 92.7, you're listening to the Basin's Best, and we've got something fun this morning. And we're all excited here in the community about the Red, White, and Blue Brew and Music Fest, and one of the headliners for that is going to be Bart Crow, and we've got Bart on the line with us. Bart, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, Charles. How are you, my friend?
Fantastic, and happy to have you here. And I know you're a busy man right now. In fact, I was just kind of scrolling through your Twitter feed. You were actually in New Mexico just a couple weeks ago over there in Lovington, and how often do you get a chance to come to the state? It seems like, you traveling around Texas, you get a pretty good opportunity to come here to New Mexico.
It comes in waves. It always seems like, oh, we haven't been to New Mexico in a while, and then look up and it's like, oh, actually, we're heading to Roswell, we're heading to Lovington, we're heading to oh my God, I just went back, Santa Fe, Las Cruces, and then we might disappear for 6 months. So anytime the opportunity arises, though, we're heading your way.
Well, and it seems like, and just knowing people around here, there's a lot of people who are fans of your music, a lot of fans of Red Dirt music. New Mexico, it seems to kind of transfer into New Mexico, even though it's, I don't know, I think Red Dirt's pretty popular a lot of different places. I'm sure from you traveling, you see that it gets all around the country. Yes, sir.
It's moving in the waves, and and some of the guys, some of the more heavy hitters are really out there, doing good stuff for our kind of music. Bands like Randy Rogers and Josh Abbott and Cody Johnson, those guys are really, their popularity has soared where they can go and hit a lot of these areas that don't get an influx of Red Dirt and kind of start pointing people our direction, and then the rest of us all kind of trickles down and benefit from it, and then we go, and as long as we don't screw it up, it ought to be good for the next wave of people.
Yeah, I know. So my introduction, I think, to Red Dirt was probably Cross Canadian Ragweed, and then that led me into, you guys and Mickey and the Motor Cars and Randy Rogers, and I'm a big Wade Bowen fan. So, it's almost like a gateway. You find that one artist, and all of a sudden you discover all these other people that are out there. Is that kind of the way you would describe it?
I definitely would, because I can honestly say that when I started playing music 16 years ago, I had no earthly idea there was a, quote, scene. I was going to school in Stephenville, and a friend from high school was dating and then married Jason Boland. That's all I knew. I knew this dude who wrote songs, and he was from Oklahoma, and his best friends were in a band called Cross Canadian Ragweed that, hell, I thought was a bluegrass band with a name like that until I saw him play one time about 4 miles from where I grew up on a flatbed trailer in the middle of a pasture. And I'm like, oh, well, they're not bluegrass at all.
No.
And so my introduction was just being friends with Jason. He would come into town early to Stephenville and stay with me for 3 or 4 days. We'd bang around on guitars and jack around with songs I'd written. And he gave me a list of places. He's like, hey, you ought to call these places and book acoustic shows. And boom. And then once I do it, I'm like, oh, there's more bands than just those two. Hell, a lot of people do this. And then 16 years later, man, it's a thing. Yeah. And I'm sure it was a thing then, too. Just my goofy, oblivious tail didn't realize it.
You're playing on the 4th of July here in Alamogordo. We're all excited about that. Red, White, and Blue Brew and Music Fest. We're talking with Bart Crow. What's your favorite part of the 4th of July? You have one thing that stands out for you that maybe as a kid you loved or as an adult you love?
Yeah, snakes and sparklers.
Yeah. All right.
I'm kidding, man.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. Is he really being serious?
No, that was a Joe Dirt reference.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, took me a second. I wasn't there quick enough.
I know, man. It's a stupid dad joke. Man, to be on a serious side, just what 4th of July represents, our independence, and, it's safe to say that our country's in a wonky place right now, and a lot of disagreement, but at the end of the day, we've got it pretty good, regardless what side you're on, being from here, and if we could all just work together. But then the not so serious side is just, man, I've yet in 41 years I've yet to go to a 4th of July celebration where everybody's mad or sad. So it just seems like there's just overall happiness, and there's always fireworks, which makes everybody smile or go whoa. And that's just, I don't know. I'm kind of a nerd, but that's how I look at it. It's just always a time for celebration. Whether you want to think about what it really means or the fact that, hey, man, my family's coming over and we're going to have a wonderful day. We're going to cook out. We're going to, pop some fireworks and watch the kids laugh and smile. So I don't know. It seems like a day that just kind of like Christmas. Everybody just seems to be cool.
Absolutely. Something we've been hearing a little bit about the people that are going to be coming in from out of state to our festival to watch you and Mickey and everybody else going to be performing. Talk about the loyalty of your fans, because there seem to be a lot of people that will travel far distances to come see you perform. Have you got that feeling from the people that you get to see at your shows?
Yes. Obviously not every show, but man, for instance, we played in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, a couple weeks ago, right before we came to Lovington, and there was a couple that had driven in from Lubbock, and it was about a 5 or 6 hour drive, and I'm like, you've got to be out of your mind. And they're like, no way, man, we love you. And it's like, holy cow. And so when I catch wind of that, or when someone will come and introduce themselves and tell me, I try to do a little extra special, whether it's throw them a T-shirt or, try to take some extra pictures or sign some extra stuff, or dedicate a song, or call them out over the PA in a kind way, but tell them they're crazy. And it happens quite a bit. Even last week in Charlotte, someone had driven up from somewhere in Georgia, and that's just like baffling to me, because I start thinking to myself, like, would I do that for me? And I think the craziest thing I did, I flew to Denver and rented a car and drove out to Red Rocks to watch Mastodon and Alice in Chains and the Deftones. But I didn't get a chance to tell them I did it, so they don't know.
Well, maybe they'll hear this interview. You never know. They'll know that.
and they'll all say their careers have been made because Bart Crow showed up.
There you go, man. I think we all probably have one of those stories about a favorite music act that we've gone and traveled for. So I think that's what's special about music is it somehow touches us and it makes us appreciate it, and they want to go and do what those people did for you.
Man, that's the thing. I really seriously put myself in people's. I mean, don't get me wrong. When someone says they drove 5 hours, I'm like, you have lost your damn mind. But I put myself in that place because I grew up in a little bitty town, and I grew up in the 80s and early 90s, and we didn't have the internet, and my house didn't even have cable until I was in high school, just because where we lived. And so music was everything. I mean, I've got memories of my sister and I just laying in bed, waiting to push record on her tape deck so we could record whatever our favorite song was at the time, or calling into the radio stations from our landline and requesting songs. And then, through girlfriends and breakups and then marriage and children, like, music's everything to us. And so when people do that, I don't take it lightly and I don't blow them off. So I'm like, I get it, man. I don't understand why you chose me, but I chose another band. And I bought tickets, and my son and I flew from Austin to Philadelphia and rented a car in a hotel room, and I took him to his first rock show, and we went and saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I get the love of music and people doing, whether we call it crazy or amazing things for bands they love. And so, I definitely don't take it lightheartedly, because I do the same thing for my favorite bands. Absolutely.
Again, we're talking with Bart Crow. He's going to be performing at the Red, White, and Blue Brew and Music Fest at Grigg Sports Complex here in Alamogordo. Something else that's exciting, speaking of music, I've noticed that you're getting ready to go in the studio. It's been 3 years since a new album. Are you excited to get in the studio?
Dude, I would go today if I could. And I haven't wanted to go. I wasn't real thrilled with the reception of my last record, which kind of bummed me out, and it puts you in this funky place where you have too many insecurities and questioning everything you put on paper. But I somehow picked my lip up and got past that. And as soon as we get back from Alamogordo, I go in the very next week.
And how's I know it sounds like you've been playing some of the new songs on the road. Has there been pretty good response to that?
There has been. I feel like one might be a little too fast paced for everybody to keep up, and I don't mean that rudely. I just mean like it's a little quicker song, so it's hard to like digest it and be like, what all did he just say? But another one that's a little bit slower seems to be. It's slow enough, like where you hear the chorus once, by the second time you know what I'm saying, and we've caught people singing along or coming up to the merch table and complimenting the song, and so that's kind of like a or what are we on to something? So that's a good feeling.
All right, Dad. I tell you what, I think we're all looking forward to hearing some new stuff from you, and of course hearing all the songs I'm sure people love to hear. Number one song that people yell at you or want to hear from you. I mean, I think I have a guess of what it is, but what's the one they probably most want to hear from you at a show?
Oh, I'm sure you can nail that one.
Yeah.
Of course, Wear My Ring.
Yeah.
And for anyone listening, I promise you, we play it every set because I don't think I'm mentally stable enough to handle the backlash if we were to not play it. But it will not be at the first of the set, so hold your oxygen.
It'll be a little bit. Well, I mean, that's the song that you play for either the encore or maybe one of the last songs in the set. I mean, I would think, right?
Man, I mean, that's what everybody does. I mean, even the Stones play Satisfaction very last.
Yeah. There you go.
Just part of the rules, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure you'll hear Wear My Ring. I know you'll hear Wear My Ring along with a ton of other great songs from Bart Crow. They'll be here in Alamogordo coming up 1 week from today, July 4th at the Grigg Sports Complex. If you want to follow the guy on Twitter, it's at Bart Crow. It looks like you're on there pretty constantly. Is that a fair thing to say?
I try to keep up with the kids, man. It's either jump on the bike or get left behind.
There you go. It's hard, and it almost feels like Twitter is not even for the kids anymore. There's something else like Instagram or Snapchat these days, you know?
Yeah, it's just too much stuff. But I'm pretty active on Instagram, and I sometimes can let my adult language fly on Twitter, but I try to keep it pretty PG. I try to keep a mindset of like, would my grandmother whoop my butt if she read this, or would my children repeat this, and would I be okay with it?
It's a challenge sometimes. I definitely know the feeling on that. I usually like type out something and then I stop. I'm like, do I really want to put this out there? And then I don't even post anything. So. Oh,
you do? I wonder what that feels like. I've never done that.
Yeah, I sometimes I have the good judgment. Not all the time, though.
Same here, brother.
Bart, appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and we are so much looking forward to having you in town here in Alamogordo in about a week. And safe travels to you and the rest of the guys.
Thanks, Charles. Thank you for your time. Thanks for letting me lower your ratings for a little bit.
I'm sure they went way, way up since you've been on, my man. Thanks so much.